Hello, everyone. It is Rory here at that Eurovision site. We are continuing on with our interviews for Dansk Melodi Grand Prix 2024. And in this interview, I'm joined by the lovely CHU CHU, who will be hopefully representing Denmark with your song, The Chase Zoom Zoom. God eftermiddag. What have had
God
it
eftermiddag. Jag hade gott tack. Hade du gott?
fintech? Yeah. My Danish is terrible, so I need to try and brush up on it ahead of going to Malmö because obviously Copenhagen's right next to Malmö. So
Right.
who knows? Who knows? It'll work. But yeah. So you're looking to sort of go to represent Denmark at Eurovision with your song "The Chase." And like, how did it feel for you when DR got in touch with you and said you will be taking part in the selection?
Honestly, I was a bit shocked. We haven't had anyone in Denmark with the style of song. We haven't had anyone, as far as I can remember, with an Asian heritage. And, it's just very common that the songs stay within a certain sound. And I'm very, very happy that this time, there was the spot for, the song that I'm representing this year.
Definitely. And it's a really interesting song in terms of like the techno kind of elements and like electronic elements in there too. I mean, what was like the process of writing the song and sort of creating the song? Did you write it specifically for Eurovision or did you sort of write it just for yourself?
The song was actually aimed at Eurovision. Yeah. And we had a lovely, lovely collaboration with the folks at DR on a few just final touch-ups that helped elevate it to the level that we need on stage and to really get the effect that is needed on a televised program. So that was very exciting.
Oh, okay. It sounds very interesting. I like I'm intrigued already to see what you're gonna have for us, I guess, on Saturday. And like you mentioned there as well, I mean, you could be potentially the first person from Denmark to go with sort of an Asian heritage. I mean, you were raised in both Denmark and China. I mean, how did that sort of affect how you write music?
I would say that it definitely influenced the way I hear music to begin with. I already, as a toddler, was listening to different languages in music, and of course, reading and writing in different languages. And yes, as a toddler, because when you're a young kid in China, you already learn to read and write at a very young age. And so at the time, my sort of literacy within music was quite diverse already in terms of having these melodies from historical Chinese songs, but also at the same time singing um, religious Christian songs in my kindergarten, which it was an American kindergarten. I was at the same time exposed to Danish children's songs as well. So I think it all came at once. It wasn't something that, I sought. It just, like you said, it shaped my approach to music with the upbringing immediately.
That definitely, and it sort of comes through, I feel like, a bit in your song. I feel like there is like a bit of a I guess the first sort of idea that came to my mind when I first heard of this song, it would be like perfect within sort of Tokyo Drift style sort
Yeah,
of sound,
yeah,
And is that kind of how you were kind of looking for it to kind of go for in terms of that soundscape?
I think so. And I think that, the skeleton was quite ambitious. So we had already all these different parts. And the fact that we were able to produce it up uh, before, performing it, before making the live show, we were able to put those elements there that gives a bit of depth and that, sort of um, tempo, and you feel the tempo even more than when we first started out. And I think that gives it the Tokyo Drift dimension you're mentioning. And I think that that it definitely is purposeful that we made it like that. And I think it reflects a lot of my artistry and the approach I have to singing and expressing myself vocally, which is also quite energetic and at the same time has those mellower, sensitive parts to the song.
Definitely. And it shows off a lot of your vocal range as well, because obviously you're kind of going like really high intensity, but then you're also sort of keeping it nice and intimate sort of within the verses, I guess. I mean, how was it sort of to come up with this sort of metaphor, I guess, of going with the cars, going like high fast, like what was the inspiration for for the lyrics essentially?
I think the visual aspect sort of inspired the lyrical landscape as well. So we, you know, obviously wanted a banger of a show. And I think the style I bring, which will be partly inspired by those amazing stage shows that you experience in the K-pop world, um, that style already, is an avenue to come up with symbols and images that are memorable. And we came up with the race car, which is also shown in the cover art, which is it's like a dream world of, sort of feminine or rebellious power that comes through in like the speedometer. So it's like it's a bit of that roar that comes from within, but then expressed in the car. And we took the concept of that feeling and that symbolism, and we translated it into a typical rebellious feminine song, which is about stealing the car. And you can sort of read it in a few ways like that. But that's how it started.
Wow. I mean, it's definitely like when you sort of go deeper into the lyrics, it's so much more than just a sort of typical, oh yeah, oh, it's like a breakup song.
Yeah.
Like there's actually a
No.
lot other different angles to it as well, which is really, really interesting to hear. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, and so like sort of looking to sort of Saturday and taking part in this selection. I mean, is there any sort of thing for the staging that you might be able to sort of give away, or are you sort of just like completely sworn to secrecy?
No, I would love to share a few elements. I mean, we're definitely seeing this dance choreography that helps elevate energy that we want uh, representing, and we want the flow of energy to pulsate within the movements on stage, within me singing and the dancers interacting. We also have spent quite some time on the styling of me on stage. We want to bring a bit of a new element again on the Danish scene. A hairstyle inspired partly by American pop culture and hyper pop and these very extravagant feminine figures, but mixed with an influence from ancient Chinese hairstyles, actually. So we have a bit of my heritage in there. We're really excited to show that in our, the innovative way that we ended up putting it together. It's going to be for sure a highlight in the sense that that's something unique about our show. We of course have also invested into how we want, the screens and the floor. You'll see that when it comes, but I wanted to highlight some of the more unique parts of our show.
Ooh, definitely, yeah. It sounds very interesting. I'm really intrigued to see how it kind of plays out. I mean, of course, with the sort of high intensity of the song, I think you're going to have a lot of bombastic staging, to say the least. And like looking at Eurovision as well, would you sort of say that you're a big Eurovision fan? How do you usually sort of celebrate it?
Well, I've had, unfortunately, a bit of a break in sort of in this tradition. And it was something that I looked to at a young age as the epitome of music, really. Because music for me, like I said, I heard a lot of different types of music, but for me, it was about the performance. Don't know if that is faded, but for me, it always was about performance. And I was 6 years old when I performed in a church full of people at my sister's uh, baptism, and I just always thought that music was meant to be performed and shared in front of a lot of people in front of the people that are supposed to hear it. You know, I would also perform in my living room in front of friends and family. And so when I saw the Eurovision and I experienced this world of not only the big stages, but the element of sharing music across cultures, which is something I already grew up with. I was convinced that there was nothing bigger to achieve within what I knew to be music. And in that way, it gave me a lot of inspiration. And um, one of the things that happened, a small side note, is that I wanted to participate in the kids Danish Melodi Grand Prix at the time. Couldn't find any teammates, and I really wanted to have choreography. I ended up not applying, I think, but some things are just meant to be, and I'm still participating years after. And I think that just shaped, well, it was definitely part of shaping what I thought live music was. At the time, when I watched Eurovision the most, I was listening to American pop stars, but I was just listening to them in my room. I didn't have YouTube, it was there, and I didn't know what a concert was like. I was so young. So that's how I viewed, experiencing music.
Wow. I mean, you definitely have a rich history then. You who knows, you could have maybe gone on to represent Denmark at Junior Eurovision or something if it was
Never.
happening, you know?
We'll
Who
never know that. Maybe in a different universe.
maybe in an alternate sort of dimension you might have done that at some point, but who knows? Maybe this could be your redemption arc this time. Who knows? So with that, I mean, what would that mean for you to represent Denmark on such a big stage if you manage to win the Grand Prix? Like you're only going to be going over the Øresund, but of course,
That's true.
in itself, it's still a big honor.
Absolutely. It's not so much about distance, it's about someone said something about that with the music, honestly. But yeah, of course it's not about the distance here. It's what it represents. And I want to say that it's not about me and what it will mean to me. I think it will mean a lot to not only the genres that we hopefully will see develop in Denmark, but also the representation might that might be able to sort of spring from this at the Euro stage, because I also know that it hasn't been short since there was last an Asian woman on stage as well. And I just think that bringing the style that I have, the history I have, and the energy and personality I have would mean a lot to Denmark going forward in this competition and in how we view the vastness of Northern European culture. And of course, it meant a lot to me personally to be able to have that experience, of course.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's something that, a lot of people sort of don't necessarily know until they go and then they realize it's this huge thing. So who knows, you might get to experience that for yourself. We will see, I guess, on Saturday, won't we? But I mean, if someone listens then to the chase and thinks, "Oh, okay, I want to listen to some more of Choo Choo's music," what would be one song that you've previously released that you recommend people to listen to?
That's a really good question. My catalog has a lot of sounds that really laid the groundwork for the chase. I want to recommend two things because there are two elements in the chase that I think are cool. One is the heightened and very energetic, almost provocative sort of energy. And I want to recommend The Plug from my mixtape Cypher Girl. And then for the more rhythmic hip hop aspect, I used to also play drums. I've always been very into rhythmic music. For that aspect, I would like to recommend. I think I want to recommend Raid.
Okay. Okay. Sounds very interesting then. Will definitely get them on the playlist. I need to have a listen to some more tracks now. I need to see how like your rhythmic kind of thing. Obviously, then you're saying you've worked with drums a lot of the time, so that obviously in itself plays a big part within your sort of musicality too.
For sure.
Yeah. And so with that, I guess just sort of one final message then. What would be your message to all of your sort of newfound international fans that will have discovered you through the Melodi Grand Prix?
Oh, well, my message to those people that are hearing this is um, keep, you know, being unafraid to try new things and keep your heart and your mind open. And um, and I hope to see you. That's what I want to say.
Crossed, fingers crossed. It might happen. You never know what will come through on Saturday. You know, who knows what will happen. It'll be really intriguing to see how things kind of play out then. So amazing. Well, Mangatak, hello Luke. Thank you so
Tack
much.
ska du ha.
The
Thank
best of
you.
luck for how things go on Saturday. We cannot wait to see how it's going to go. Just as a final thing, do you have any social media that we can plug for you whilst we're here?
Yes, I do. It's at I am Choo Choo underscore underscore
Perfect.
on all the platforms.
Every single one. You'll get that on like TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram, all of them. It's perfect. Amazing. Well, thank you so much. The best of luck on Saturday. We cannot wait to see how it's all going to work out. So thank you so much. Thank you.